Chad.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing better.
Doing better?
Mm-hmm.
Good. I'm glad to hear that. So how are things going lately?
Things are going good. I guess I'm still kind of. I feel like the paranoia is going away as much. Like, from the beginning, like I had the whole thing with Colton, falling in a hole, like,
Mm-hmm.
kind of scared me on the job and the paranoia and stuff. But I'm starting to realize, like, paranoia is not where I need to be. Like, it's only going to make things worse. So I'm getting more through the paranoia.
Okay.
But I guess just like still kind of the aftershock and like the haziness, the cloudiness of like everything, still just kind of. So it's kind of affecting me at work, like with my skills and my job. I just don't feel like I'm 100% there. My mind's in it.
Okay. Okay. Well, it seems that when you maybe reflect on the experience with Colton, the accident, and all of that, that it maybe triggers that anxiety that you feel. Does that sound like what's going on, or can you speak to that?
I guess yeah. Anytime I like it's brought up or I'm thinking about it, or I guess that's when like that anxious feeling sets in. Um, but like a lot of it has to do with I don't know if it's like that fight or flight experience they talk about. Like
Mm-hmm.
when something like that happens, you don't remember much that happened during the moment, and that it just kind of affects your memory or affects your brain or affects your like your ability to recall information. That same experience happens like whenever I think about it, and it's like so then like what I'm doing requires a lot of brain activity and like memory and where I'm working and like the skills that it takes, the mental physique that it takes to like operate at work. Like I just don't have. I'm not up to my fullest potential. I'm like, and it's just affecting my brains. I don't know.
Okay. What does your fullest potential look like for you?
Being able to operate equipment effectively and smoothly. I'm an operator on the job, so I operate heavy equipment,
Mm-hmm.
and so being able to like operate, hand-eye coordinations is on point. Um, if it's not, then there could be issues on the job. It could be accidents, things like that. If I'm not 100% there, so yeah, like operating fullest potential would be just having a clear mindset of operating at professionally and successfully without like yeah, and being cautious.
Okay. Um, what ideas do you have about maybe in your work situation that you could do to maybe get your focus off of that uncomfortable feeling and back to maybe that ideal that you're looking to achieve?
Uh, a part of working by myself, like not by myself, but as an equipment operator, oftentimes like you're alone in a machine, um, so there's a lot of isolation, I guess, or separation from other people.
Mm-hmm.
The only time I interact with coworkers is while they're on the ground or in a ditch, and I'm like, we're to hollering at directions and stuff. Um, but yeah, so I notice that whenever I am interacting with others, my mind can get off of that, and I'm going out, just kind of going with the flow.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm like, it's like when I'm by myself operating equipment, I'm just doing my thing. Like my mind just goes back to the accident, and I just get triggered with some anxiety or whatever, and then it starts to affect my work. And I don't want anything. I have this anxiety that something bad might happen at work if I continue to operate like this.
Okay. So am I right that when you're working alone, that perhaps you feel that it can be easier to maybe not be triggered about the accident because maybe you are just focusing on yourself? Is that a consideration or?
No, it's actually the opposite.
Okay.
When I'm working alone, it's like my mind. I'm very inward. Like I'm more of an inward person, intrinsic in a sense. So like I'm more apt to think about the accident if I'm by myself. If I'm with other people and we're talking and we're just going with the flow of life and like, or if I'm with my coworkers and we're talking about our new job that we're on and stuff like that, then my mind is on that present moment. But when I'm by myself, it's when my mind starts to wander off and then reflect on that. So it's actually the opposite of that.
Okay, well that's good to know. So I wonder whether maybe speaking with your coworkers, not working alone, would be a kind of coping skill for you. Is that an option at your workplace? Is it like required that you operate alone, or would they allow you to work, with other individuals?
It's sort of hard. It's hard to, I don't know how to say. Operating alone is typical because it's a one-man machine, right? So you're operating one piece of equipment. It doesn't take two guys to operate that equipment. And when you're operating, there's not a lot of verbal, unless you're with somebody and you have to have somebody on the ground speaking to you about what's going on down where you can't see. But there's not a lot of verbal communication between me and my coworkers. So I think it'd be difficult to bring that up and say, hey, like, I can't work alone. I would rather work with somebody. Even though I am with somebody, I'm not with somebody when I'm working. So I don't know how to explain it, but I think that would bring a problem to the job. And then there's that fear factor of, well, is this going to affect my wages, or, am I going to get fired, or
right.
when I have to find another job? Like, I don't want my bosses to think I'm incapable.
Okay. So I hear you saying that working alone for you is kind of part of the job. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay. So maybe we can work together to practice some different techniques that would help you to calm down when you are feeling anxious. Is that something that you would be interested in doing?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, like, if it's going to help me, like, be able to kind of bounce back more quickly, because bottom line is I don't feel comfortable going to my boss and saying, hey, like, I need to work with other people, because I know that's not a possibility. Like, my job description requires me to work, alone on most cases, so I'd rather, if I can help it, and if I can, learn something to help me to be more efficient and more successful. Yeah.
Okay, great.